using social media to significantly increase your short-term rental business. That's going to be the subject of this video. Welcome, my beautiful people. Fernando David here. And today I want to talk about how you can effectively use social media to boost your short-term rental business. So let's get right into it. The first thing I want to talk about is choosing the correct platform. And here's what I mean by that. You really couldn't use any platform, but the important part here is using the platform that you're going to use, right? It does you no good to decide to go on, for example, LinkedIn when you never use it and when you never get on it. So it makes it really difficult. Starting out, I would pick a platform that I normally use, right? For example, with me, when I got into social media, the first platform that I got on was Instagram. For my short-term rental business and for a short-term rental business, I believe that Instagram is probably going to be the best one. The problem with Instagram today, though, is that it becomes very difficult to grow quickly on Instagram. We're going to talk about all of them. Facebook, I think, is probably one of the best to use to grow your short-term rental business. Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest are probably the four that I would focus on when advertising on social media. But again, the point here is to focus on a platform, and for the most part, I recommend use a platform that you're going to want to use on a regular basis, because being consistent is going to be key. Next is whichever platform you decide to use, is you need to start off with optimizing your profile. In your profile, what you want to do is you want to have, just like in your short-term rental business, that you want to have that your money picture be your first picture. Same thing with your profile. Your profile picture needs to be that money picture, right? Today it's really easy. I either recommend you hire a professional photographer to take the picture, or if you want to go high tech, use AI, get a nice profile picture. But understand that your picture and your profile and the layout of your pictures and how you're going to do that is what it is you need to understand is that it needs to flow and it needs to work with branding. So whatever your brand is going to be, focus on using those type of colors, those type of fonts in your profile. Next is going to be your content. Your content is everything. You really don't have to be a professional social media influencer to do well on social media, and you don't need high-tech equipment. Like, I do almost all my stuff on my iPhone, but your content needs to be engaging. It needs to be interesting. I like the combination of educational and entertaining. Those two things, when done right, will really, really help you grow your social media and in turn grow your business. Your content's going to be key, and then how often your post is also key. There's two thought processes here, right? There's two ways to look at it. You can go the Gary V way and just post all day long or constantly be posting. He believes in more is better. Or you can go the opposite, do less but higher quality stuff, right? But the idea is that you need to be consistent. For me, I like to post every day at least 1 to 3 videos, but I don't like to post 9 to 10 videos like Gary Vee likes to do all day long, right? I don't think, especially in the beginning, you don't want to, what I refer to as, burn out your current circle, right? People are going to get tired of you posting. But if you create good content, entertaining content, then you're going to be fine. But I just don't think you should overdo it and constantly do the Gary Vee stuff. I think you should find a happy medium. Next, this was going to be a little bit controversial because some people today say it doesn't matter. I still firmly believe it matters, and that is using relevant hashtags. And your hashtags, don't look for hashtags related to, because a lot of people do this, look for hashtags related to Airbnb. Don't do that. Look for hashtags that are related to travel, right? Because travelers are going to be your potential guests, and your potential guest is your business. Without people booking your properties, you have no business. So focus on those type of hashtags related to travel, hashtags related to your local area. So for example, if you're in Fort Lauderdale, anything related to Fort Lauderdale could work. So focus on that. Next, a strategy, especially when you're starting out, to grow your social media is to run contests. I did this a lot in the beginning. I'm going to tell you why you should be cautious with it. But when running contests and giveaways, it's a great way to get people to do two things. Number one, especially if you do this right, number one is going to be to share your content, to subscribe or follow you on social social media, and then 2, to get people to come stay at your short-term rental. So for example, we used to do a lot of giveaways, especially when we had a new property. We had a new property before we even went live. We would put pictures and create a contest to getting people to name our short-term rental property, getting people to give us titles for it, getting people to give us descriptions. That engagement is going to help you grow, but it also is going to give you some ideas that you may not have thought of to optimize the listing, which is very important. So running contests is going to be critical. I believe it will definitely help you grow your business and bring people to your properties. But here's where you need to be careful, because a lot of people will will follow you, will subscribe to you because they want to win that contest. But the moment that contest is over, you're going to lose those followers. And oftentimes those followers may not be ideal for your niche. You're going to see that ebb and flow where people subscribing and unsubscribing or following and unfollowing. But don't worry about that, because in the beginning, the idea is just to get your face out there, get your name out there, and just start to get some name recognition. Next is going to be interacting with your audience, right? There's a reason why it's called social media. You need to be social in your social media. So, when someone sends you a message or someone comments on your post, make sure you interact with that person, right? Make sure you either like it, follow up on what they're asking or what they're commenting on. And in addition to that, you should be seeking people that are within your niche and then interacting with them. Meaning, go on, for example, if you're using Instagram, go on Instagram, start looking at other people, specifically in the travel niche. I am a big fan and a big believer that the travel niche, because you are in the travel business, is where you should spend the majority of your time when you're on social media. Seeing what other people are doing, commenting on their pages, interacting with their followers, going on there, liking and following others will help you grow your social media. So being social and being interactive is going to be important if you want to grow. Next, this is another one or a good strategy that I use to grow my social media and get more influence in my niche, and that is collaborating with local businesses in your area and collaborating with other influencers. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples here. I would reach out, especially with an influencer that you follow, and DM them and ask them, would they be willing to come stay at your property and in return do some kind of video and promotion for your property, and you'll let them stay in your property for free, right? Or there's stuff that you can work out, but that's one way. The next thing is to team up with a local business that will enhance your guest experience. Meaning, for example, we like to team up with bike shops, restaurants. If you don't have a washer and dryer in your unit, then team up with a local laundromat or a cleaner that you can collaborate with their social media, add them to your listings to increase your amenities, because that's not only going to increase your following, but it's going to increase your guest or enhance your guest experience, which is going to give you those 5-star reviews that you really need. So collaborating is going to be key. Here's another big one. You're going to have influencers and you're going to have people in this industry that are willing to team up with you, right? So for example, if you have no idea what to do with social media, I highly recommend that you hire a marketing or social media marketing agency, right? The one I recommend, which is the one that I use, is EC Creative. You want to learn about them, then just DM me EC Creative and I'll give you their information. You can also team up with my team. We are currently in Puerto Rico. We're optimizing a short-term rental here, and then we're going to be advertising this property that I'm currently in on my social media. Again, that's going to attract my followers to this particular property, and it'll attract my followers to the host of this property. So this type of collaboration is going to be very important if you want to grow and grow quickly. Because again, establishing a footprint on social media, especially on the key platforms today, is not as easy as it was 5 or 6 years ago. It takes a little longer today. For example, those that follow my channel know that I created an additional Instagram page for my travel agency, right? For Dream Vacations, which is the partnership that I have with that group. It's growing steadily, but it's not growing as fast as my original channel. When I started my Instagram channel on my original page, I went from 0 to 1,000 followers in less than a month. I've been on my new page for over over 3 months and I only have like 300 followers, right? It's going to take longer, but I still feel it's worth it. And if you want to accelerate that, then collaborating with influencers and local businesses, companies like ours, or hiring companies like EC Creative is going to be super important. Next is figuring out, whenever you decide to start your social media campaigns, you need to figure out what features within that platform is trending. For example, currently on Instagram, stories is where you should spend time in. And the beauty about stories is that you don't have to stay and be true to your niche. You can add other stuff, right? Like on my stories is the only area in which I put stuff that sometimes is unrelated to my niche. Sometimes I put stuff about what I'm doing. I put stuff about behind the scenes. I do all that in my stories. In addition to that, here's what's interesting about stories is that within stories is where you're probably gonna get the most engagement, or at least that's my experience. I get more people DMing me and asking about a specific short-term rental that I own, or when I post something on a host that I'm collaborating with. Most of the time, that communication happens via my stories. This is why I think stories is very important. It's also a vehicle in which, if you're that type of person that likes to post a lot of stuff, do it on stories, right? You can add more and create more within stories on Facebook and on Instagram. So take advantage of that. But the point here is that figure out what's trending within the platform you're going to be using and then focus on that, right? When Reels first started, I think one of the reasons I grew quickly on my main Instagram page was because I took advantage of Reels. Reels in the beginning, I would post anything on Reels and it would get average about 5,000 to 10,000 views when Reels first started. Now it's not the case. Everybody's posting on Reels. Anything you do on Instagram is Reels related. Figure out what's new and utilize that. Next, I want to talk about is using like Facebook Live or Live on YouTube. It's a tool that, if done right, is really going to help you engage with your followers, especially if you do like live tours of your properties. If you're in your local area and do a live about a local restaurant, a tourist attraction, right? Going live in those specific locations, I think will help grow your followers. It'll help you as well. And I know this part is going to be difficult for some of you guys because some of you guys, number one of the reasons why a lot of people don't even get on social media is because they feel they're not good in front of the camera, or they feel people are not going to be interested in them. And people fear rejection, right? Don't be afraid of any of that stuff, right? Most of the people are going to be commenting on your stuff you don't even know. And regardless of how good you are, and I firmly believe that the better you get, the more hate you're going to get. So do not worry about that, but putting yourself on live, either Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, is going to, with time, make you a better communicator. It's going to also make you less afraid of the camera. So take advantage of that. Next is creating and doing special offers and advertising that on social media. So that's another thing that I do a lot. So when we have a discount, or when one of our vendors like Royal Caribbean or Celebrity Cruises, when they put out an offer that's specific or unique to us, I'll do an advertising page and I'll advertise that on social media. Now, that's going to cost money, right? Because you have to pay Meta to advertise on Facebook and Instagram. But the return on that investment, I think, is well worth it. It's going to be higher than any other type of advertising, especially today. So don't be afraid to do that. And like I said, if you have the money, invest on that, but do be very strategic on how you do that. And I would advertise on promotions. The last thing we're going to talk about, and I'm going to close here, is to track and analyze your performance. Both Instagram, Facebook, all the social media platforms, you're going to have the ability to track the performance of what you're posting. This is why I say, especially in the beginning, don't go too far to the right in terms of, like I mentioned, like Gary Vee. Don't start posting a bunch of stuff because it makes it more difficult to analyze what's working and what it isn't. When you post something, a week later, a month later, start looking to see what performed better and then double down on that. So for example, we recently did 2 videos that performed very well, and the 2 videos were very distinct or very different, but they were both related to travel. So one that we did, if you follow my channel, was when I did a video in Medellin talking about the difference between being in Provincia during the day and at night. That performed very well. And then I did another video, a very short video, in which I had my suitcase and I just threw like my toothbrush and my passport and some money, saying, which was a trending audio. And if I remember correctly, and my memory serves me right, the audio says, pack your shit and go. So that audio, I took that audio and I put it in that video, and it was very short, but it did very well. Going forward, I'm gonna do more videos similar to that until it stops performing well. When it stops performing well, then we'll shift to something else. The point here and the idea here is that if you're not tracking your performance, you're not gonna know what type of content to create, and it's just going to hamper your growth. So really focus on and understand what you're doing and what's trending and what's working in the niche you're in. I know I said that was the last thing, but this is truly the last thing. Again, I mentioned this before. There's two key components on doing well on social media. Number one is being consistent. Consistency is key. And then number two is being authentic. Don't try to be something you're not, right? Don't try to copy someone really isn't you. Be as authentic as you possibly can. And trust me, you will do great. Hope this information was useful. If it was, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And more importantly, subscribe to my Instagram. Buy me a coffee if you want to chat and discuss any topic related to the short-term rental business or travel in general. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.